Okay, welcome back to another episode of the Day After podcast.
What is up, everyone? We spoke it into existence. Joe hired someone to make fun of me about my draft picks. And that same person who was your winner pick got eliminated at 13. By the way, thank you, Joe, for drafting him
I
first.
literally
Because
took
I would
him.
have drafted him. I would have drafted him first, and then I would have had three people in a row go out at the 13th spot. So thank you, Joe. You were such a good friend. I love you 3000.
Wait a second. Wait a second. So you guys both wanted Rome in as your first pick.
Yeah.
What was in his like preseason
Okay.
stuff that had him like so good?
I definitely was a little more of an emotional pick because I am a huge fan of esports, especially Rocket League. He commentates on Rocket League. He had kind of at least like a fun, vibrant personality that I thought might be able to get people
Is he a
to.
fun, vibrant personality?
I mean,
I think he's entertaining.
yeah,
Here's the thing.
yeah,
I chose him because I was like, listen, I'm going to fuck this up anyway. So let me choose
yeah.
someone that's going to make me happy. And so when he took that, I'm like, all right, I'll just go with Genevieve because I think she's really cool too. And so,
Worked out for you.
Yeah.
Worked
yes,
out
it
way
did.
better for
Yeah,
you.
yeah. No
Six
joke.
people in a row. That is a
I
record on
I
our
knew
channel.
I knew that I was screwed because normally I disagree with Ryan's picks so much, but this draft he was agreeing with me, and I was like, "That's not good. That's bad. That's a bad sign." I
I
said that during the draft.
I like how you turned this your losing team around to be a joke about Ryan.
Yeah.
That was well done.
He's had 5 years of practice. It just kind of rolls off the tongue with him.
Yeah. Whenever Ryan wins these, by the way, it's because he picks like an Erica and the rest of his team sucks, and then somehow an Erica wins the season. So I'm
You
now
said
hoping for an Erica win.
you said Ryan wins, and I was like, those two words don't belong in a sentence together.
He's won like twice. Okay, he actually won the first draft we ever did because he first picked Tommy Sheehan in Island of the Idols.
Yeah.
And I
That was
wanted,
a solid pick.
yeah, I wanted
Thank you.
Tommy too. But that was the only time Ryan's ever been like properly right.
I almost picked Kenzie, but I was like forgetting which person I saw at the Bryson Wen. And I was a little distracted because of reasons, but that we are not discussing. We're not discussing that.
Yeah.
We're letting that go. Anyway,
Kenzie
so
is tattooed Melissa, so Kenzie was always going to be one of my top choices.
Yeah.
she was up there for me. But anyway, that
But yeah.
aside, let's get into this episode. This episode, it started off in the I feel like this episode, there was no mystery or anything. It was setting up one of the most satisfying demises ever.
I
I love you, Rome, but like you got to understand from a show standpoint, it was entertaining as
I okay. I like most people, I'm not the biggest fan of the new era. But like the thing that really like gets me is like the editing, right? Because a lot of times the editing is so weird. Like they set people up in certain ways. Like Gabler, we were set up to think that he was like delusional and like a goat. And then like the jury loved him. Like things don't really add up. And this was one of the times that like the editing was so perfect. First of all, he's been annoying us for a while. So like we've been wanting this, so like we get it, right? Like we don't have to wait all season. We're not waiting to the final five. Like we get it at the right time. We get it at the merge. That's our merge feast, right? Is this annoying character going home? But also like the way that it was set up as like him versus Kyle, and like Kyle was not innocent, but the way Kyle was able to play off being innocent, right? Like the two of them having that sort of like trying to like con people and just like Rome not being able to do it and Kyle being able to do it, and then Kyle winning the challenge while Rome like messes up the puzzle again.
Yeah.
It was just such a beautiful setup. And then the dunking on him, like person after person after person in a row of him going up to them being like, yeah, it's definitely Soul. Like, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we see them all realizing like, oh yeah, they were all lying to him. Rome's, oh my God, I cringed so hard when Rome started saying how he's a mastermind of this game. I was like, this is such a Drew Christie edit that we just got of Rome this episode, where it was just
like it was Jeff even in on it at the time to let Rome take his seat, just to like even pour more salt into poor Rome.
I think he knew, because like obviously he has cameramen, they're filming it, and so like producers or probably can tell him, so that way he knows what to ask at it. But like, no, that moment at tribal council where it's like, take a seat right here. I was losing my mind. I'm like, this is the best thing ever. This is one of the craziest things.
And we all know he's going home. That's the thing that makes it great.
They even showed the people voting for him. Like, they didn't even like.
Yeah, they didn't hide it. But that's what made it.
And like, thank you, Survivor, for finally like providing a good, satisfying edit after the mess that was 46.
Yeah. I will say I saw I listened to the On Fire podcast with Jeff Probst. He had in his notes before the season to let Rome like host a challenge or something. Like if he went out early, he was planning to like bring Rome in and let Rome call a challenge.
That would have been. It might still happen. Or is it because he said, is it not?
He didn't make a jury, and so he's out. So but
essentially because he's out, maybe he like isn't on the jury, so now he can be in the production camp.
Yeah. Who knows? I mean, watch, he's going to be out there on 48 just calling the challenge. He's going to be the protege, just like taking notes. And
it would actually a little bit be satisfying to watch him have to watch somebody be good at a puzzle.
Yeah.
Also, why do they keep putting him on puzzles?
Because he keeps saying he can, and they don't want to be rude. That's really it.
Someone has to like just sit down and be like, all right, the track record is not showing that. We're going to use someone else, okay?
Yeah. Right. Well, also, like, if someone's bad at puzzles, like, you let them do it so that way you can say, like, oh, look at how this person sucks at this, and then, like, throw them under the bus. Like, it definitely, like, I think Soul especially was doing that. Like, he knows how bad Rome is and all this stuff, but he's going to still let it happen. He'll try to call for a change out, because at least the target of Rome being bad at this puzzle still happened.
Well, also, too, like, number one, if you know that you're bad at puzzles and you're bad at mazes, then you're not like, I mean, fine, if this guy wants to do it, sure, go for it. But also, like, because I played I was only there for 3 days, but I played that LRG, and like, there are sometimes that like people are so adamant about doing things in a challenge, and you're like, okay, fine, like, I'm not gonna fight you on it, but we're gonna lose. Like, like, it does eventually, like, sometimes just kind of wear you down of like, okay.
Well, yeah, the thing is, like,
or they do something right one time, and that justifies all the bad times, and you're like,
cool. Rome and Gabe literally just needed to play it super safe and slow, and they would have easily gotten it. But Rome was doing like this, like he was like trying to like pump, like he was doing like one of those like trains that you kind of like have to do the 2-person train.
Painful to watch.
Yeah,
I was just watching him like, and Jeff was even saying it needs finesse. Don't do sudden movements.
Yeah.
And he just wasn't following. He wasn't adjusting, and like
he wasn't following directions. He wasn't listening to other people.
Yeah,
that's weird.
I know.
He seems like he's really good at like taking advice and direction.
Yeah, we're dunking on Rome a lot, but I guarantee you, he's getting a call for season 50. He's 100% getting a call for season 50.
Okay, but here's the thing: we said that last season about Q, and who's talking about Q anymore?
I think, yeah, Ryan definitely loves
still
Q.
rock the Q skirt.
Yeah. Oh, I know
but
that.
I will say this: I do want to reach out for him for one of our awards.
Yeah, it would be.
He's a personality, and like you can tell too. Like, so I'm also watching the challenge, which is also Wednesday nights, and like you can tell in the challenge that like behind the scenes is messy, but like the edit is really good. Like, and like. The people on the show give a lot of good content for them to edit into episodes. So you can tell he's that type of person that like he is constantly giving content. He's constantly giving personality. So like I'm sure in org, he's a great character to have.
Oh yeah, I'll be hitting him up for season 2 of Day After Wars.
He's not gonna win
Anyway,
that either, though.
Yeah. I don't care. I just want him on there to, say some funny things and make some chaos and then
you
go
never
out,
know.
whatever.
You
Yeah.
never know. You never
As
know.
I said one time in an org, these tiny hands hold a lot of chaos. I love chaos.
Yeah.
By the way, Kevin, I don't think you've properly introduced yourself. I know you've been on the channel before, but like, tell a little about yourself, how long you've been a Survivor fan and everything.
I've been a Survivor fan since season 1, episode 4, which is the one where Ramona goes. And then I actually am so much older than most of you. This is before DVR. So I had to like look up the TV listings in my local newspaper to find out when it was replaying to go back and rewatch those earlier episodes.
What a time.
Right? What a time to be alive. So yeah, I've been a Survivor fan for quite a while. You used to have to be 21 to be on the show. So I got my passport when I turned 21 specifically to apply for Survivor. So that's how I know that I'm getting close to having to renew again because I'll be 40 in 2 weeks. So I'm like, oh,
You're a Scorpio too?
Ow, ow!
I'm meeting so many Scorpios recently. Also, wait, when is your birthday?
November 8th.
I'm the 9th.
Oh my gosh, so close.
My cousin is the 9th, and she's younger than me. So I remember telling my aunt that she was going to be my birthday present. And then she wasn't actually born on my birthday. So when I went to the hospital to go see them, I was like, you still owe me a birthday present.
Kevin, I love you. You're awesome.
But yeah, so my Survivor career could be as old as Parvati, Yule, Ozzy. Like Cook Islands is the first season that I would have qualified for. So I've been trying for a while. I've been a fan for a while. And everywhere I go, I get people to watch. Like I moved down here to Florida and my cousin and her husband were like, oh, that show's still on? And
Yeah,
now
we
they
get
still
that a
text
lot.
me. They still text me. Like they're actually split up and they moved out and like they'll still text me and be like, did you watch Survivor? And I'm like, you know I watched Survivor, yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
that's the reaction to everyone who is not currently watching Survivor. Is like no one realizes it's on except for the people who are watching Survivor.
but yeah, so been a bit of a fan for a while.
Nice. Just a tiny thing. But yeah, we start off this episode, and it's the aftermath of Annika's elimination. You know, people are like talking to Rachel, kind of like being like, "Yeah, sorry about that. We didn't want her to go, but it's and all that jazz."
Right,
Yeah.
and like it's actually like clearly the smartest thing for Sam and Sierra to do because they're now like in the middle. And if that yellow tribe stays a tribe, they have Andy on one side and Rachel on the other, and they can decide what to do. Like, do we want to keep Rachel because she's the more stable person, or do we want to keep Andy because he's probably more loyal, even though he's less stable, right? Like, brilliant move on their part.
Yeah. Last week was definitely like them setting themselves up, which is why I actually think there's a potential winner edit for Andy because last week we saw the episode through Andy's eyes. Like we saw the strategy go through Andy's eyes, and then like the Sam decision kind of fell in at the end as like the what's going to happen. But we really are seeing more like the lens of Andy through the yellow tribe.
Yes, and I would also say to that too that like whereas Rome just got dunked on.
Yeah,
like
pure dunking.
Like he's sitting there and he's telling us that it's crocodile tears. Like he just makes me feel so small and I have self-confidence issues. But like Andy similarly had that breakdown, but it was genuine.
Yeah.
So like I do see them like he is like a phoenix rising from the ashes sort of edit.
Yeah.
But the I don't know if you guys watched the schoolyard pick. The schoolyard pick didn't air on the show, but it was on CBS, and so he was the last one. He got picked after Sue. But I do see that, but they also didn't put that in the episode. So like, I think he's gonna do well, but like them not including that makes me think he's not gonna win. Like, but he is gonna have that redemption of like, yeah, at the first tribal council, I was crying like a crazy person because they didn't cheer for me for breaking a coconut.
Coconuts. Yep.
And like here I am now, this like confident,
Kevin. Sometimes people's love language is validation.
I don't know how to do that.
Love language or validate?
Either.
Usually just scan it in the thing, they'll give you a little ticket. It's quite simple.
Yeah, I wouldn't say Andy's my like top choice as a winner, but he's like someone who I'm clocking as like I see a potential there in the edits more so than I think like Andy's playing a stellar game. Like there's some people who I think are playing stellar games, not getting great edits, like a Sierra, or a Carolyn. Like they're kind of lower on the thing, but I can tell they're playing great games.
Yeah.
But Andy's like kind of on a different scale where I don't necessarily see him playing a great game, but I see the edit is giving him a good game. like they're trying to show it to him.
Yes. Kind of like remember Jake from 45?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Jake from 45, if he wasn't like physically falling apart. Remember how many times he just like collapsed as he was walking and like disintegrated into the sand? Kind of reminds me of that, where like he didn't end up winning. He didn't even get any votes, but like he had that redemption of like, I was broken and now here I am.
Yeah.
I also think Jake, if he was on a different cast, would have done a lot better strategically because I think he actually was saying a lot of the right things on the season, but no one wanted to listen to what his plans were.
And that is a lot of like,
a
lot of what happens on Survivor 2 is the luck of who else you're there with.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
now, some people like Rome are always gonna be crazy.
Yeah,
but sometimes, well, I mean, like, there's always a strategy towards it, and it's like I think with Rome, what really saved his early game was he found two different advantages, and it's like that meme that's going around, the factory meme, and like here you had Teeny, and it's like, oh, I guess I'm working with Rome now, and that's what saved him the past two votes. But like then, all that was lifted, and then he started doing chaos right at the beach, and then also the whole thing with Soul, which Soul is one of my favorite contestants. One of which is just solely because, no pun intended, because of the dynamic the two of them had.
Yeah.
Because it was so damn funny. I wish these two had a spinoff.
Yeah, they need a sitcom. The Soul and Rome show.
Very odd couple. Very like straight man, crazy man, right? Like Rome's the crazy one, and Soul's just like.
Yeah. It's always a sigh every time he even just hears the name Rome.
Yeah. So many people had good licks at Rome when they were writing his name down. I thought they were going to show one or two. They had like 3 or 4 people.
Yeah.
I will say Andy may have won the best one too. Like he's on a streak with saying it in German. Venus.
Yeah. Yeah. Rome wasn't built in a day, but your game was lost in one.
Yeah.
By Sam.
And for him to like still just so cocky going to the voting booth as we're seeing everybody vote for Rome and him be like, well, I know Soul's going, but I'm just not going to vote for him anyway. Like, it was good. It was so good.
Yeah. He said that he thought that there was a 25% chance it was going to be him going. He thought there was a 25%.
Right. That's him rewriting history. He thought there was a 0% chance. At the
time. I do think he's someone that we don't get a lot of this kind of casting choice anymore where people are trying to ham it up and like be entertaining for the TV as much. It's a lot more like people trying to be down to earth, being themselves and that kind of stuff. Whereas Rome, I really do think he went out there with the sole intention of trying to be as entertaining so he gets the edits on Survivor, regardless of if he goes out early or if he makes it far.
I feel like Rome is the type of player they wanted last season, and that's why they cast so many like off the wall people in 46. But like none of them materialized the way Rome did.
Yeah,
and that's pretty. Yeah.
Yeah, I also think that there's a chance that if the Earn the Merge was how it has been previous seasons and not in this format, that there's a chance that Rome survives and becomes essentially the Q of the season, like the when everyone says, but then they
No
like
one gets around to.
yeah, then like the smarter, more strategic players find like the true targets. But because it was kind of just like I mean, this was a merge. They need to stop calling it Earn the Merge if this is the new format because it
Yeah.
was one person, one individual immunity. It is the exact same as if they were
Yeah.
in the next round. There is
Right.
no
This time, yes.
difference.
This
Yeah.
time it was very much like this time it would like beforehand when it was teams, it was, to earn the merge. This time I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, this is individual immunity. It's like they just didn't
Right.
have buffs.
Yeah.
Listen, thank God we didn't get a seventh season in a row of a giant ball half buried under the sand that they had to dig out and go bring through an obstacle course where it crisscrosses and then to climb up it and then do a puzzle. Like, thank God. Thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah. People liked it one time and then they were like, let's keep doing that.
Right.
But that was also because like
Yeah.
Jonathan was doing it by himself, so that was like badass. Like
Yeah. I mean, Jonathan just in general doing a challenge was entertaining.
Yeah.
So he can make any challenge look cool.
Yeah. Well, and like I think about it too in terms of like, so what is it? Carson, right? Carson is the one from season 44.
Yes.
He already knew the puzzles, right?
Yeah.
So like I think part of it too was like they have the realization when he's there, they're like he literally just like knows what piece goes where as soon as he sees it because he's seen it so many times. But at that point, they already have planned 45 and 46. Like they can't redo it at that point.
Yeah.
So like now is when we're finally seeing them like learn that lesson of like
mix it up.
Yeah, we have to change this. So
yeah, and I do think that there's actually been a lot new variety in challenges. Even if they're kind of doing some of the same stuff, it feels like they're at least doing it in a different way or a different shape in terms of the puzzle and that kind of stuff.
Yes.
So there is at least a somewhat conscious effort to do that.
Yes, and I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. Great. So when we start up right after that, it's the Earn the Merge, and we start going to the Tutu Beach. And everyone comes there. It's all kumbaya. And Sue, washing the blood because she forgot to do that. I feel like the producers were like, hey, let's do it Tutu Beach because they have that blood stuff. And because people were going to dig around and dig up the blood. I was like, oh my God.
Right. Like that was an intentional decision on their part to be like, oh yeah, we're gonna send them to the beach where the obvious like indication is that something happened to see how that plays out. And like good on Caroline for immediately being like, oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And like you could tell the difference between her and Tiana's reaction to it too, because she was like, oh,
very distinct.
Now I remember that. Okay, good to know. And then she like went to Sue because she's aligned with Sue to be like, I know you got it, right? But Tiana, meanwhile, was like, oh, no. Like,
yeah.
And you can tell the difference between the two of those. Like, which one is that going to work out for?
Yeah.
Caroline.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it seems like they're setting up a Tiana boot in one of the next couple episodes. Like, it feels like
no. You still have to lose 3 more people, Joe.
No, we're not losing.
We have to keep the streak.
If we lose Soul next, Sierra, and then Gabe, I mean,
in any order,
end of the podcast, Ryan. We're that's it.
I like that the sheer idea of a guaranteed Ryan win means the podcast is over.
Yeah, we just can't move on anymore.
Joe, Joe is that petty.
The scales, because like I'm supposed to be the strategic one who like knows all the strategy, and he's like the one who plays emotionally. I mean, the scales are over. Like it's what are we doing here?
Yes. Yes. I mean, but here's the thing. We're in this new era. Yes, new era of the pot. We've passed 5 years, Joe. Yeah. It's time to mix things up. We've done so many new things this year. We started doing boards. We started doing interviews. We branched out and now we work for Johnny Fairplay. So does Kevin, by the way. guys.
Yeah.
So we've done so much. So maybe, just maybe, it is
Look at that
also
merch.
time for us to be equals. For the first time in forever, I can finally win a game. For the first time in forever, I just go into a frozen zone.
Ryan, I'm gonna vomit if we have to be considered equals. Okay.
Right.
Moving
No,
on.
listen, you do not get to be a real boy. This is not Pinocchio. No.
Yes, because actors aren't real people. That's what casting
No,
has told me
no,
for the
actors are
past.
real people. It's just specifically you.
Yeah.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh.
okay. Well,
Anyway, back to the.
yeah. Sue definitely getting caught by potentially too. I am curious to see if Tiana is going to tell anyone else about this, or if she's going to or if she's going to get taken out before she's able to do that. Because I think Sue and Caroline need to absolutely get rid of her quick before that information gets leaked.
I
Agreed.
also think like advantages have been played interestingly, right? Like
Uh-huh.
the amulet last night was like very public.
Yeah.
Everybody knew it was going to happen, right? Like advantages have been played interestingly after last season, where it was just like person after person after person after person voted out with an idol in their pocket. So I also don't know, like I'm not convinced that like that's going to hurt Sue. I'm more thinking that's gonna like the way Tiana's gonna try to like out her is gonna hurt Tiana.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially because Stu has been getting really good at it as well. Granted, the 45 thing, it was another like moment when Soul was out there with her, and it was like, "How old are you?" 42. Oh, I'm 45, and they were both like, "Yes, yes."
It's working out for her. People
It
aren't.
is. It is.
Listen, I when it comes to people's ages, just take them at face value. Sure.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
constantly considered someone that's in their early 20s all the
Yeah.
time. So
It is.
like,
It
or
is. It is
I'm a
super rude.
professionally 18 TPY, so like
Mhm.
I understand
Yeah. It is super rude if
to correct,
if you correct and say you look older than that. Like,
I
especially
love because
especially telling a woman that
50, she's
yeah.
50 something, right? She's
late 50s, I believe.
I think she's like 59. Like, it is like up there.
I thought it was like 53, but still, I like so for her to say she's 45, which is such a lie, and to immediate for Soul to maybe be like, oh my gosh, we look great for our 40s. Like,
Yeah.
Soul!
Yeah. So yeah, she's 59.
Yep.
So that's pretty wild.
I need to look this up. I'm gonna look this up while we talk.
Yeah,
What, you don't believe Joe?
I was just looking it up.
She
You
is?
don't believe
Okay,
Joe?
actually, okay. Filming, she was 58, but she's now 59. So
Okay.
58.
Oh yeah, that makes sense because 8 and 3 kind of
Yeah.
visually. Okay. All right. Yeah, so she's lying by 13 years.
Yeah, it is a wild jump. And like, I mean, if she said she was like 52 or 50, like I would be like, okay,
That's more plausible.
but it is being in the mid 40s where you kind of go, what?
I mean, I have a friend who has gotten younger as I've known him. So I mean, whatever, Sue. You do whatever you.
Benjamin?
Yeah.
No. So when I first met him, he said he was 38. He was actually like 45. Said he was 38. He went down to 37 for a year.
Oh, okay.
And we're talking like 15 years later. I think now he says he's 45. And I'm like, I'm gonna pass you soon. Like, this is not how this works.
Yeah. uh But I mean, I like Sue. I think she's a fun character playing a pretty good game.
I agree. Yeah.
I think one of the better older lady archetypes that we've seen,
Yes.
especially in the new era.
And especially with such a young cast, like she stood out in terms of like how much older she was than everybody else.
Yeah. I loved her.
Yeah.
I was like debating between 5 or 6 people for my winner pick. And like I almost chose her. Like even past the Rome thing. Like I was like, when I was going through it, I'm like, which one do I want to go with? Like, I believe she's drafted second on my list because I was like, I
Mhm.
like her. I love the energy she brings. For preseason, she's like, I'm going to be a boss. I'm going to be a villain too. And she's coming in with this like ferocity. And like, I believe her. I want to see that energy from her. Like, I was so down.
I will say too that so like first I didn't originally pick her. So
Mhm.
over at Tribe of Nerds, there's 18 players and there's four of us. So we,
You all get five.
so we each that's not how math we included Cameron. So we each got four with two left over. So the first two people who like lost somebody got to take the leftovers. So Sue was left over. But I didn't pick Sue on purpose because on Big Brother, there's always like one older person,
Mhm.
right? And that older person just like gets left out, right? So I was like, listen, Sue's great, but like I've seen this. Like
Mhm.
Big Brother
Time
does
and time
this
again. Yeah.
Yeah.
every year. So like I'm not gonna
Yeah.
waste a pick. And like Survivor also has the problem of like the moms always get like
Mhm.
destroyed, right? Because like they're the type of player that you trust your mom and you love your mom. So when your mom stabs you in the back, you're mad at them. You don't vote for them at the end. So like
Yeah.
even if I
Yeah.
did think that she could overcome the age, it was also like the older mom type like never does well. But like she's not motherly, and I say that as a compliment, right? Like she's
Yeah.
Yeah.
not playing the like, oh, don't vote for me. I'm here to take care of you. She's like, no, fuck you.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's because she's 45 out there. She's it's her mastermind. She thought of this. She's like, if
Yeah.
you're in your 50s, you're that older mom type. But if you're in your mid 40s, you can just be a boss ass bitch. Like that's what you can
Oh
be.
yeah.
And she almost won that challenge,
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
If she's the challenge beast of the season, I'm gonna love it.
right?
No,
Like
like yeah.
amazing, amazing. I am like fully a fan now. Like first I was like, well, I mean I'm gonna like her, but she's never gonna. And now I'm like, no,
Mhm.
I love her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, let's go back to the challenge real quick. So yeah, Rome fails for his tribe or his team.
Oh
They
wait, we should
lose.
go back
Oh,
to because when we got to the beach, it automatically was like, yo, there's an
oh yeah.
advantage. Three, two, one, go. The buoy thing blew my mind where I'm like, you're not
Yeah.
even going to check.
Okay. Now I will defend the red and yellow tribe for a second because they did just enter another per tribe's camp
No.
and okay, so there are markers out there essentially saying you can't go past certain places. And especially when you're first getting there,
Yeah.
there's also a bit of a risk reward of actually going out and doing that right away because your early stages you want to be more social and like getting to know people.
Yeah.
And if you are just now running around looking for things, like you're losing that time and you're essentially painting a target on your back that you
But if
are
everyone is doing it, then no one is
That's
guilty.
so
that
that's
that
that was the thing that
yeah.
was crazy to me is that like this is an advantage
Mhm.
and it's going to be public. Like everyone's going to
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So like you might as well go out in a group of three and go talk to that group of three and then switch up your groups
Yeah.
about who you're like
Yeah.
The
searching
thing,
with. But like
yeah.
go
I
look.
I have another theory. Last season, 46. Advantages were the curses of you. Like if you had an advantage, you were in trouble. And I think that this cast especially is going in with the mindset that advantages are disadvantages. That's why we saw the amulets get used the way they did. If
We
you
also saw
have
somebody leave the beware advantage.
yeah. So I think that there's a real like sense of I want other people that are like my allies or close to me to have it, and then I can sit back and let whatever happens to them happen to them, and then I'll get by another round.
Look at Joe, learn from good old Ro. I
Yeah,
watched last night's episode. I know the wisdom.
Now
yeah,
I totally would have read that and I would have taken off running. And
yeah,
like anytime I walked back through the camp and they're sitting there, I'd be like, are we gonna go look?
yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure the advantage was going to be something related to the earn to merge, whether it's
right.
like one per you're automatically guaranteed, something like that. It was going to have something to do with it. I am curious what they would have done if that wasn't the case. If they, for whatever reason, was like, all right, I guess we're not going to find this thing. If they would just do like whoever sat out just didn't get a chance to get immunity or
Yeah,
Yeah,
whoever didn't get picked.
yeah, yeah. I could have seen them, yeah, just doing a White Rock or a situation when they were doing, or I don't know. I guess, yeah, I guess it would be Andy because he would have been the last pick because no one wanted Andy. So
Yeah, because
he would've-
imagine there was no way Genevieve would have been the last picked. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Also, I just loved seeing Genevieve next to everyone in mud because it was just a Where's Waldo
It was
moment.
hilarious.
so funny. But also, like, I mean, maybe it was just the edit. Like, she didn't seem to get any blowback from any of it, from finding the advantage to not having to do the challenge, like
Yeah.
being clean, still like not like not even not winning, but like not even coming close to winning that challenge, despite being clean and more fresh.
Getting
Like,
wined and dined too.
Yeah.
right. Like
Yeah.
she got
Best case scenario.
no blowback from that.
Yeah. Yet again, I think this is the advantage of finding it the way it was instead of a mad scramble. The more people who would have scrambled, they would have been invested in getting it. And if they didn't get it, they would have held some kind of resentment. But the fact that she can just kind of be like, oh, I just kind of saw a buoy over there and found it. Then everyone's like, oh, good for you, Genevieve. Like, way to go.
I would have been like, come on, guys, like, let's go have fun doing it. And I would have like run out to that buoy and got it first. But like, I would have been like, come on, let's all go together and like, let's make this a fun thing because we're stuck on an island doing nothing.
Yeah.
But
But
good for her.
Like legit. The toughest challenge of the season is always this earn the merge or the merge challenge because it's like they got the most amount of people. They want to be able to kind of have a big thing, especially, and then like later on in the season, sometimes like people are really tired, so they can't do any crazy big challenges as much. So they kind of really try to be like, this is the big challenge that we're getting here. So the fact that she kind of got to skip that and save that energy is, in my opinion, the true
definitely.
that is the true reward of getting this advantage. It's not necessarily like the chance of even winning immunity. It really is just you're skipping that, you're getting the foods. Like that is what you want. That's all that mattered.
Yeah. I would also say too, particular to this challenge. So I do a lot of like the mud runs, and we do that kind of ramp, and I know how hard that ramp is when I'm like fully prepared after how many days of sleeping on a beach and eating nothing but like handfuls of rice. I'm picking up those sandbags from the beginning. Nope, we're making a ladder from the beginning. All of us, we're all taking like two. Like I'm not waiting till there's only 3 of us down here and somebody has to come back. Just get them now. Get them now and build the ladder.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I was gonna say, when I was watching, I was like, that is a very tough challenge for like Survivor contestants that aren't like meant to be doing this. Like this is like American Ninja Warrior stuff, like that.
There was a lot of steps to it too. Like
yeah,
I was watching it, and I'm like, it took like maybe a solid 10 minutes, if that.
When they had to lift that bag with the coconuts to get the like. That was heavy. Like you could see them struggling. Like
by the time you
pull it, nothing happened. Like
by the time you
was useless. Like it was so heavy. It took like the strongest people like heaving with their whole body.
Yeah, you can tell by the time they got to the wall that everyone was already gassed. So yeah, definitely a tough challenge. So props to Genevieve. Now if everyone ever goes out there and you get a something like this for Earn the Merge around this time, like make sure you go look, I guess, because if you can skip. I mean, I still think if everyone is kind of hesitant, it can be tough sometimes to be the one to be like, let's all go. Yeah.
That's the thing. Like socially, if everyone is hesitant about it, but like I said, I know I'd be the type because I mean it was a very short game, but like I was the type of person when I played that game to be like, yeah, let's go look for that. Like, and while we're looking for that, I'm gonna be looking for other things. But like,
I also think that I think if this happened on a returning season, everyone goes immediately. But because
They
Yeah.
don't need to bond. They know each
Yeah,
other.
exactly. So
Yeah,
they go off and they do it. We get the Tony going, "Oh, I gotta go find it," and then he runs off like a madman. But because
exactly.
it's a first time player, they're learning these people for the first time. They're gonna vote someone out within 24 hours.
I feel
Um,
like you're also a little bit more nervous your first time, just mostly
yeah,
because when you're out there on the island, you're also like, all right, this is possibly my only shot to play this game.
Yes. The
hmm
stakes seem so high. So like
yeah,
you don't want to mess it up. So yeah, if everyone else is being like super like, no, like let's sit down and get to know each other. Like, okay, fine, let's sit down and get to know each other. Like,
Yeah.
hmm
hi, my name is Kevin.
Uh, yeah. I mean, it's just one of those things. I think the more that people play, the more that they'd be okay with just going off and doing stuff. But yeah, it really is just you're more concerned about not being the next one to go,
Of
and
course, yeah.
you're looking for any reason, to potentially
Yes,
go.
yes.
So yeah, but yeah, then we get to the second part of the challenge where we get kind of more a very classic, yeah, super classic challenge, where it's down to Kyle and Sue, and they have a nice little battle. Kyle was strong for most of it. Like he started wobbling a little bit at the
Yeah.
end, but yeah, it felt like this was like one of his kind of like bread and butter challenges or something.
Yeah, he seemed like very confident. I always kind of like pegged him as like potentially someone that would be good at these challenges. And I feel like also when you don't have your vote, there's a little bit more fire underneath you to actually to do something about it.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah,
So like I'm very glad he won too, because especially in that point when you don't have a vote, it's scary.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it was the perfect person to win because, yet again, if we're looking at the edit of Rome, the fact that the person that Rome was throwing under the bus is now suddenly immune.
Yeah.
So it was so poetic. It was so perfect. Like,
Yeah, of all the people who could win that immunity, it happens to be the one person that Rome was trying to target. So,
right.
Of course.
yeah,
Murphy's Law.
yeah. And then I mean, I think we got also one of the best immunity idols necklaces.
I love it.
The bat one. I
It's
think it
so
is so
cool.
cool.
I remember when they played the preview for this season too, like it almost like the preview had like almost like a horror vibe to it, right? Like as much as
Yeah.
Survivor would do a horror, but it felt kind of like that. And so like this reminded me like, oh yeah, they had like kind of a spooky theme to this
Yeah.
season that
hmm
like the new era doesn't really do themes, but I remember thinking like they should make the tribe colors like green and purple and black and
Yeah.
like
That would be
that's how
dope.
they should
Yeah.
like start it to give it just like a little bit more of like a darker tone. So it was cool to see like that thing that I was picking up on 6 months ago like reappear.
Mhm.
Like, oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Can we take a quick
Yeah.
break? I need to use the restroom.
Okay, go for it. Go for it.
Fine.
Okay, and we're back. Okay, I forgot what we were even talking about, to be honest.
We were talking about we just wrapped up the whole thing about the challenge and like
mhm,
how we like how close it was with it. That's where I kind of laid off. Like when it was an
Mhm.
individual immunity portion.
okay.
I will say if they're gonna call it earn the merge, I would have liked if it was like you can earn the merge if you win immunity or if you make it to like the
Yeah.
final stage.
Yeah.
Right. So like
Yeah.
Yeah.
just to like give it a little extra, like you won't, you'll still be immune if you make it to the final stage. You'll earn the merge, but like if you are the final winner, you'll win this extra thing, right? Like that
Yeah.
would have just made it a little still like earn the merge and not just a straight up merge with an individual winner.
Yeah.
But like that's a minor tweak. That's a minor.
Yeah, I know Ryan and we mentioned last week. I think it would be the best way to do earn the merge is an individual challenge, but like the top six, for instance, have immunity and they're safe.
Yes.
So
Something like that.
it's
Yeah.
not a team draw and you're relying on your team to get to the next stage.
And
It is individual.
I also really appreciate. I like that they did a schoolyard pick for this because
Mhm.
it gives them a lot more agency and like who
Yeah.
they. You could
Yeah.
end up with a team that's stacked when it's choosing the rocks, and like
Yeah.
if you're going with the theory, which I don't in terms of choosing rocks because they're in a bag and like how you're gonna do that. But like
Yeah.
if you're going the theory that like they rig it for certain people, like that just lends to that like, oh well, you just wanted those people to be on a team together so they would all be safe. And like making it a schoolyard pick like takes that out. So now it really is like who got picked to be on the team, and the teams are a little more even. So
yeah,
Agreed.
definitely. I just wish we saw the schoolyard pick like on the episode itself because I know that that's something that people have been craving. We haven't seen that in the episode since Gabon, so it's been that long.
I do assume too that like I know they're trying to be very like editing in like a not a nice way, but like in a non like beating people down sort of way. So like picking someone last is kind of like picking on them in a way. I mean, I don't think it is, but like I understand that argument. I don't think it is, but I understand when people make the argument that it is. So I understand them still being hesitant to put that in the episode. But I'm glad they made it available.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And then so one of the other things is Andy was kind of thrown out as that safe vote because you never know who may just have an idol. So when Andy found out during tribal, I wonder if that's something that is going to play a big factor into things moving forward. Sam also got a stray vote.
Yeah. I'm wondering if he, like how he's going to react to being the backup vote. Like he was the last one picked. He did feel like the outcast, the outsider, like they didn't appreciate him. So like is he going to re-spiral or is he going to react to this better? And like that's going to be part of that like Phoenix from the Ashes storyline of like, oh, I'm not going to have a breakdown this time. I'm going to learn from that and I'm going to handle it better.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see that. I mean, I would like to see that from Andy at this point.
Yeah. But also, if we do get an entertaining episode where Andy gets to spiral out and go crazy,
if Andy has a spiral, it'll be entertaining. Yeah,
yeah. Like, but I also think like he's one of the last people now who I like think is bringing the entertainment. Like him and Rome, I think we're out there like just causing entertainment and chaos and just things going on like crazy. So now without Rome, I definitely want Andy to make it further because I want to keep this kind of character in the game longer because I think he's adding a lot of just fun and variety to the season that I think it definitely needs.
It's definitely not 47 is definitely going to feel different without Rome.
But like as somebody who loves the strategy, you have Sam and Sierra, you have Genevieve, you have Teeny, like you have Caroline and Sue. You have so many like good
great people
strategists.
Yeah.
And like if it turns into a season where like now we take out like the distractions and now we're really focused on the game, I'll love that too. I'll love it.
Yeah, I think the best seasons of Survivor though have a good healthy mix of wild characters who are doing crazy things and the strategists who are playing the game.
100%. So as for those of you who don't know, Kevin talks a lot about movies over at the Tribe of Nerds and Reality After Show. And so it's just kind of like a movie. Like my favorite movies or what I think are the best movies are the ones that people that are more casual watchers can enjoy and get the critics to be on the same side too. That is, for me, what makes a really great movie. Someone that can win the hearts and be enjoyed by both. So I feel like the season that does that, and I feel like, I agree with both of you. I feel like this definitely has the makings where it does have both. This already for a lot of people seems to be the best season of the new era, but this, if it keeps going in this direction, this might be a bold statement. Maybe this could be a top 10, at very least A-tier season in the Survivor story.
Well, I think it's impossible for that because the first 6 people gone should not have gone home. So,
Joe, you literally chose them.
Well, right, I know. If this was a top tier season, they should still be in the game because they're great players.
No, but like
if the next 3 people that go are those 3 people, this will be my favorite season of all time.
I think it's literally impossible to happen.
Statistically, I don't think that will happen, but it would be really fun if it did. No, I think if Andy goes to like 7 or 8, and then from there it's like a war of like now these characters who we've like been following for months, who we know are these great strategists, and now they're like going at it. Like I think that would be a really strong ending to a really good season.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I don't want
yeah,
Hughes, I don't want Banu's, I don't want Venus's, I don't want those people at the end. Like I want Genevieve's, I want Sam's, I want
Agreed.
Sierra's, I want Rachel's.
Agreed.
I want those people at the end. So if that's
Speaking of
how it
which,
plays out, I'll be
go
so
ahead.
satisfied.
Because you have the perfect transition. We like doing this around this time, around the earn the merge or merge. Who do you think, based on edit, gameplay, etc., and you can give us two or three people, or do you think will win this game?
I think, generally speaking, the women are the much stronger characters.
Agreed.
Which, like, go women. I think the way we got the surprise of Genevieve like suddenly being this major strategist means we could get that again. And I was kind of saying it before we started recording too, that like Caroline seems to be getting an upward trajectory. So I'm not like fully on board the Caroline train, but like I could see it.
Joe mocked me, by the way, for choosing Caroline.
Yeah.
I mean, I chose her. She was my first choice.
Yeah.
It was because
I will say she is still the least
and I
edited
high
person
five
on the
with
season.
tiny hands, Kevin. And I high five with the tiny hands. Life goal.
And then I would also say, so this is just like personal bias. So the very first org that I ever played on Instagram, I played the 6th season. No, I played the 5th season, and Rachel played the 4th season with Cameron from Tribe of Nerds. So like I have a personal attachment to Rachel just because of that.
That's totally fair.
Yeah, like I haven't even personally talked to her. But I just like, I'm like kind
She's
of a
part
little
of the
bit connected
community.
to her.
Yeah.
So those would be the ones that I'm like, Genevieve like popping up out of nowhere. I mean, we all love Teeny. Like we all love something, but like Genevieve stand out for that. Caroline, I could see like rising up, and then Rachel, I just think is cool.
I can see either Genevieve, Teeny, and this is something where I feel that Sam has been getting he's going to get a lot of stuff, but I feel like a lot of that residual credit for some of the moves he made will go to Sierra. Because, like, because they were a duo throughout this entire game. So, like, they made those decisions together. So she can be at Final Tribal Council. I said, I did this, this, and this. Sam was a good shield because he was already a target. So it was great being aligned with him because he took the heat for that, whereas we still share the credit.
And I think he gets taken out before her.
Yes.
Like I think he's seen as the bigger threat. He gets taken out.
But Joe picked it. But Joe picked her. It defies all logic.
I think Rome is going to come back from the edge of extinction, and he's going to win the season. Hold out hope for Rome, everyone.
I wouldn't mind that.
That's a party of one, my friend.
I would join that party mostly for the snacks. I mean, like, yeah, I can get behind this, but I'm here for the snacks. I'm here for the free pizza.
Yeah.
The costume party.
But real talk, I mean, I feel like Sierra, Genevieve, and Teeny are, in my opinion, the three most likely ones to pull out the W right now. I feel like there's a lot of people who I can just like personally, I would X out of winner contention. There's a lot of them. And really it feels to me like what you were saying, like some of the women, and then I think Andy is like a dark horse as like a potential, like you don't see it coming, and then suddenly it's like he's at the end with like I don't know, like Kyle and maybe Caroline or something, and they just don't get the recognition that they should, and then suddenly Andy wins the game. Like you never know. There could always be like a weird Gabler moment that ends up happening.
That would be so dissatisfying. Don't give me another Gabler. Don't give me another Gabler.
Gabler's win though, huge reaction. Jaws on the floor. Think about that.
It is on this channel, Kevin. There is a YouTube short of it of my reaction because I was at a Bryson Wang, and the audience and myself were stunned.
You still see me shaking my head because
I looked the cast of 43 in the eye and everything.
Like it's kind of the exact opposite of 46 too, where like I thought 46 was such a disaster of a season, but like stuck the landing because of the winner.
Mhm.
Like I thought
I think
40,
the last
43
half
was like a decent season. Like we had Carla, we had Jesse, we had some really great players, and then Gabler won. Like so.
Well, I mean, the downfall of that, I was like, all right, you have those three powerhouses in the final six, but the thing is, they needed to work together for like one or two votes, and they just didn't. And that's why we got the finale we did. Not saying that I don't dislike it, but I would say like out of the options there, I would have wanted to see one of them make it there.
Yeah, I was definitely saying it was the doomsday option around like 6 or 7. Like I saw what could potentially happen in that, and I was like, please, just like one of either Cody, Jesse, or Carla need to make the ends.
Well, and like that's I think one of like the things that I like about the edit of this season is that there are so many people who like even if they're not my top contender, like I feel like I see reasons why they could be a winner. Whereas like Gabler seemed delusional. Cassidy, even if she was right about things and we knew whether or not she was right, we knew that other people thought she was delusional, right? Like we knew Owen had been on the outside for a long, like we knew these things from watching it. Like that's what they told us. So that's why it wasn't to me satisfying. So at this point, almost any of them could win, and I would feel like it was satisfying in some sort of way.
Yeah. Okay. I know Ryan's got to get going here pretty soon. So let's do MVPs and LVPs real quick. We like to do that. So LVP episode, Rome. I think everyone can agree on that. So I think it has to be.
He got to sit on the throne of Jeff Probst. So I will say there is no LVP this episode.
Okay, you know what? MVP goes to Rome. Let's give it to Rome.
MVP goes to Jeff for just adding on to the dog pile.
Yeah.
He deserves an Emmy for that. He deserves an MVP.
That's so good.
MVP for me goes to Soul because he got rid of his target. The monkey off his back. The person that was annoying the ever-living shit out of him. And the most satisfying way, he was so happy. I don't think I've seen Soul smile once during this entire game. And to see his smile, that was probably one of my favorite moments from this season so far.
Okay. I would say MVP goes to Kyle.
Yes.
Because Kyle not only won the challenge, but Kyle also had the like him versus Rome, and he won the battle of the him versus Rome. Like he won it. Even if he didn't win immunity, he was gonna win. Like because he was the much better player. So I would give it to Kyle.
Yeah.
And I will add to what you said that Kyle also had the no votes, and the fact that he had that penalty and it ended up not mattering is also another great thing as well for him.
Yes.
Definitely. I think the real MVP of the season of this episode was Teeny for getting super drunk at the sanctuary. She was just down in that was her bottle. No one else was allowed to have that bottle. It was all Teeny's. No. So
I'm not drinking if I get
Teeny
on
got tipsy.
Yeah.
Nope.
Teeny got tipsy.
Okay. Ryan, how long do you have here? Because you kind of leave now.
I got a couple more minutes. Okay. If there's anything else we want to discuss.
Yeah, I was just going to do confessionals and then we can end the episodes.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay. Yeah. We like always talking about confessionals here. So
because we love our screen time.
Yep. It's all about screen time over here on the day after.
Blame Pirate Sarah, Kevin. That was just a one-off thing I said, and she made the joke of it.
Yeah.
And it has exploded.
You never have to convince me to blame Pirate Sarah for anything. Done. Consider herself blamed.
Yeah. Well, Rome ends his season here with 38 confessionals. He is actually currently tied for most confessionals on the season. The person who is now in the lead, who's still in the game, is Sam at 38 confessionals. So pretty good there. Next up, we got Gabe at 29 confessionals. So a decent
that's a bit of a drop.
Bit of a drop happening there.
Also, Gabe, we talked about this a little bit on the show, but like he's getting a lot of screen time, but we're not really seeing the winner edits with him. It's just
No.
kind of he doesn't feel like a main character, and I think that's just
Agreed.
like the
Mhm.
vibe.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think I feel like we're supposed to like Gabe, but I don't like Gabe. Like I think that
Mhm.
they want us to like him.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They haven't convinced me.
Yeah. Next up on the confessionals, we got Teeny and Andy at 28 confessionals. They are tied. Next up, we got Sue at 25 confessionals.
Love her.
Yeah,
I love it. Yeah.
doing good. Next up, we got Rachel at 18 confessionals.
Steal that rice. Steal that rice.
Yep. Soul at 17 confessionals.
That's probably gonna drop without Rome to complain about anymore.
Yeah.
No.
Value.
Soul. His spirit has been lifted. He's going to become a main character. I want to see more of Soul.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh,
Out of everyone that Joe has drafted, the three that are remaining, I hope he's eliminated last because I want more Soul.
uh, okay, and then we got a tie here with 16 confessionals between Sierra and Genevieve and Tiana. Those three all have 16.
Interesting combination of players.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I agree.
And then we got Kyle at 14 confessionals. And then at the very end, we got Caroline with 11.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like that 11 is a big jump compared to where she started. Like, I feel like that's a recent. Like, I feel like she was probably down at like 2 or 3 for a while.
Yeah, her first episode, she got 1 confessional. Then she got a 3 up confessional when her tribe went to tribal, and then it's been 1 and 2. So, yeah,
Slow burn.
Yeah, no goose eggs for her. No goose eggs in this episode. Typically, when you also see people who get like 0 confessionals, that means that they probably aren't winning, because we like to see the winner have some kind of edits throughout the entire season. So yeah. But yeah, that does it here. Is there anything, Kevin, you want to plug anything?
Shout out
the Tribe of Nerds, guys. The Tribe of Nerds. We are just a bunch of nerds who talk about our nerdy interests, like our favorite movies, Harry Potter, Transformers. Pirate Sarah convinced us to watch Pirates of the Caribbean, which were not all good movies. But
I can't wait until I went to Org where you guys have to cover Twilight. That is that is my driving force. That will be in my FTC speech.
I will poison that jury because I'm not watching that series.
Yeah, I've refused to watch it since it was popular. Like I
watched a little bit of the first movie and I got to the baseball game and I was out.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
But this weekend we are going to be
you missed hitting the ball 3 times?
No, this weekend we are doing Carnage, or not Carnage, Venom.
Let There Be Carnage.
Let There Be Carnage was the last one. It's Venom. I mixed them up. We're doing the Venom movie review this weekend, and then next weekend we're talking about Agatha, which talk about good TV.
Last episode is one of my favorites that the MCU has given us. Legit, I saw it this morning. I cried. It was so good.
It was so good. It might be the best Disney Plus episode of anything that I've seen.
I think it is S tier. I have to really rethink things, but like I feel like editing wise, I feel like the story we were given, all the things leading up to it, perfectly done.
Yes. Like I might go back and rewatch it tonight. It was such a good episode. So we're like, whatever nerdy thing you are into, one of us is into it and we will talk about it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Definitely go give it a watch. And this does it. This was great talking to you, Kevin. It's great to hear your perspective on the season and everything. And we will see you all in the next one.
Peace.
Bye.